Hey guys, it's SweetBananaGaming here, back with another, well, this is a solo discussion this time. It's just me, because I couldn't get things organized, but I really wanted to speak my mind a little bit on some of the stuff that's been going on today. Well, it'll be yesterday by the time this is uploaded. I'm gonna upload it Friday morning, just so because I don't have a chance to sit down and record my thoughts until the nighttime, so this will be up Friday morning, hopefully. And yeah, we had a couple of trailer drops today for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. I believe it was 1 North American trailer and, what, 4 Japanese trailers? Some of the stuff in it was a little redundant with the different Japanese trailers, but I have it in front of me, part of the Pokemon website. We're gonna get to this stuff. But what I want to do first is I want to watch the English trailer and one of the shorter Japanese trailers, because it's the one, there's like a 5-minute long one, which I might run in the background for some of my discussion, but I want to just do the shorter, there's a shorter kind of, well, there's a few shorter ones. There's one long Japanese trailer, one of the shorter ones that kind of covers all the stuff I want to talk about in particular. But we're going to start with the English trailer. I'm going to move over here, where we're going to watch this trailer. I'm gonna try to comment as it goes on. So of course, we open with the thing that we all were hoping for when we saw the leak and we saw the Team Rocket photos. Giovanni is the leader of a new organization called Team Rainbow Rocket, which is going to be a new villainous organization in Ultra Sun and Moon. We're gonna just go through what the trailer shows you. Giovanni strikes back. I like the little nod to the first Pokemon movie. But we have Mewtwo here, Giovanni using a Mewtwo. One of the only, it's very rare for trainers to use legendaries in the game, other than like when N uses a legendary like Reshiram or Zekrom in Black and White. I think that's the only time they're actually like a trainer's Pokemon, like in the story of the game. And as you can see, battle through 20 years of villainy, we see all of the evil trainers. We're gonna get to all of the evil team leaders. We're gonna get to that, but let's just go through these new features that were being introduced to right here. The battle agency is another thing we have. Kind of like whatever the battle factory from back when we had the battle frontier. You battle with rental Pokemon, and I don't know. It's nothing. It doesn't sound like anything brand new. Nothing that we've never heard of before. But I'm gonna actually freeze frame it right here for a moment so I can just say a few thoughts on this, because I'm not really gonna go back to this one after we're done with the trailer, but this seems like an interesting, like, I have a feeling, I don't think this is gonna be like a replacement for the battle tree. I feel like we'll still have the battle tree, and we'll probably still have battle royals. I think we probably even confirmed that we're gonna have battle royals again, but I feel like this might just be like a fun little thing we get to do. An alternative way to rack up battle points. If you want to get right into the battle without having to go through all the, training up your own competitive team, because the battle tree is honestly quite a bit of a challenge when you first get through the game and you haven't, like, done a whole competitive team yet. You have to actually have competitively viable teams in order to do well in the battle tree. So this could be a good way to just jump right into it, and hopefully a fairly easy way to farm battle points. Because, sure, once you have a good team, you can kind of farm through the battle tree for battle points pretty easily, but the whole process of getting yourself a competitive team is a lot easier when you have the battle points to get the power items, to do the EV training, and blah blah blah. But anyway, there's not too much to say on this other than it's something new for Ultra Sun and Moon, but it's something similar to what we've had in the past when we've had the Battle Frontier, where we use rental Pokemon. I'm kind of curious to see, how this works as far as choosing rental Pokemon, if it's limited, or if it's going to be like Pokemon Stadium, where you can just choose basically any Pokemon you want to be a rental. I highly doubt that, but I guess we'll have to find out what it is. Let's keep it going. Oh, you see we're battling Sophocles, so I guess it'll kind of be like the battle tree, where we get to battle trainers from the game. Okay, this new feature, search Alola for totem stickers. Now, I'm assuming this is going to take the place of hunting Zygarde cells. I feel like there's gonna be something instead. You get to find these stickers all around Alola. They're kind of hidden there. They're shining. It reminds me of the Zygarde cells. I feel like this is probably gonna replace it, but this is the interesting thing. Get totem-sized Pokemon by collecting lots of stickers. So there you see the actual giant, you can see right here, totem Pokemon. Now, how this is gonna work, I'm not sure. I'm gonna assume that maybe you send them into battle and they get like their little aura boost like they do when you fight them in the totem, like the trials. But on the other hand, when you fight Ultra Beasts, they get like basically a totem boost as well when you battle them in the wild, and then they don't when you have them, so maybe not. Maybe it's just an aesthetic difference. But the question I have is, are you going to be able to take these guys over on Wi-Fi? If they get like the totem boost at the beginning of the battle where their stats are boosted, I kind of doubt that you'll be able to take them into Wi-Fi, or at the very least, they won't get that totem boost in Wi-Fi. So, at least not if we're going to keep sort of the balancing of the game intact. But I do think that maybe if you can use these guys in multiplayer, that it might be just an aesthetic change. Maybe there's a stat difference. It might be like the different size Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist, where there's just like a slight difference depending on what size you have. So maybe the totem Pokemon have slightly higher stats. Maybe they're slower with better offensive or defensive stats, or maybe it's just an aesthetic change, which I could see it being, because I don't necessarily see the totem boost being a thing that you can use, at least not Wi-Fi. Maybe in the regular game, but again, Ultra Beast got a totem boost when you found them in the wild, and they didn't keep it when you fought with them either. So we'll have to see. But yeah, you saw the Salazzle, the Gumshoos, and the I can't think of your name, Lurantis. Alright, different Pokemon will appear via Island Scan. I believe these were all, so we see starters, for example. You could find starters in Island Scan before, but I guess it was different starters. I think we found the Gen 2 and Gen 4 starters, so these are the other ones. And encounter legendary Pokemon beyond an Ultra Wormhole. We had heard about this already. This is very similar to what we had with the Hoopa rings, the Hoopa portals in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where you'd soar around on Mega Latios or Latias and find those little places, but the difference here, which we'll kind of get a peek at in the Japanese trailer, is that instead of them kind of appearing out of a little portal, you're actually going to go through Ultra Space riding Solgaleo or Lunala. You're going to go into Ultra Space and kind of into their domains. And again, we're going to see kind of what that is going to look like in the Japanese trailer. But basically, we're being shown almost every legendary Pokemon, definitely all the mascot legendaries, but I think we're basically through this. Again, much like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we're pretty much going to get access to, between the two versions, we're going to be able to get access to every single legendary Pokemon that there's been. No mythicals, but I don't know if we'll get access to any mythical Pokemon. That would kind of make them not mythical Pokemon, but they did that with Deoxys, but that's a whole other topic entirely. I know we see Black Kyurem and White Kyurem, and we see the Megas. I'm pretty sure we're not going to encounter the Megas or the Primals or whatever in the wild. We'll have to, you know, get the items and then modify them. And the same thing goes for Black Kyurem and White Kyurem. But there we are. We get a nice little view. Those were pretty much, what, all the mascot legendaries? And that's it for the English trailer. So, yeah. That's, I mean, not too much to say. Basically, I've said most of what, I'll get back to the legendary Pokemon Ultra Wormholes thing, but that's mostly all I wanted to say on the topic. We're gonna go ahead and check out the Japanese trailer right here. This one spends a little bit more time on, you can see as I scan through here, it spends a little bit more time on the Rainbow Rocket thing, or we get to see a little bit more details. So again, I'm just gonna kind of narrate it as it goes through. I might pause in a couple of places to get my thoughts. But, oh, well, right here, actually, let me pause right here, because we're going to see this later on when we go over to the website and we look at some of the screenshots, but this is when we're traveling through the Ultra Wormholes to find these legendary Pokemon. And over there you see a number, and we're going to see the English text. It's going to have a different number, but it's going to show, it's basically like a distance of how far away you've traveled to get to that spot. Now, I don't know if these numbers, they're very specific numbers, so I don't know if they have any significance, if it's supposed to give us an idea of geography of the Pokemon world, but it is what it is. We'll see what we have here. Whoop, I didn't mean to go back. Let's skip forward a little bit. Alright, so this gives us an idea. We're gonna see here, so this is an example of you go through an Ultra Wormhole, and we're gonna find, was this where Mewtwo is? Yeah. So we get teleported, and this is like Mewtwo's lair, basically. Wherever this is. Maybe it's Cerulean Cave, maybe it isn't. Let's skip ahead here. So here we see Giratina. I don't know if this is actually... Oh, back up here. I don't know if this is actually supposed to be the Distortion World. It doesn't quite look like the Distortion World. But either way, it's a place where Giratina is inhabiting. So this is what I mean, where instead of the Pokemon coming out of the portals to you, we're going through the Ultra Wormholes to their different domains. And I think we already saw it's something similar to what we're going to be doing with the Ultra Beasts, where we kind of go into their little domains where they live and, you know, things themed around them. And I really hope that the explanation of where everything is kind of fleshed out here, but we'll see. So let's skip ahead a little bit more. What'd I do? Okay. Oh, there's Mewtwo coming down, and yeah, so there's how Mewtwo appears in battle. And this is like the same, thing that we saw before, like literally the same thing with all the legendaries, so we can skip ahead a little bit. I don't think there's any new footage here. We see Mewtwo Mega Evolving in 2 different ways. Here, we're gonna get to the fun part. After they show, again, this shot of all the mascot legendaries, here is more on Rainbow Rocket. First of all, this awesome artwork, which we're gonna see again. And here we have, again, all of the evil team leaders. And there's Faba there in the background, but I will get to him. We will get to him soon enough when we analyze that picture. So we're gonna see something on TV, Giovanni saying something in front of computer screens, and there's Team Rocket logo, except it's all rainbowed out because it's 2017 and Team Rocket is, you know, all-inclusive. But there we have a little, like, Team Rocket. Look at this thing with the Meowth statues. That is kind of awesome. Kind of a throwback to Gold, Silver, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, where they had Persian statues. I don't know if they're gonna have like cameras in there, like to set off the alarms the way they did in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold, and Silver. But it kind of looks like they're spying on you. But it does look like we're gonna have to do some kind of puzzle moving around the Meowth statues. Maybe? I don't know. There's arrows on there, so maybe we use the teleportation pad. So there is gonna be like, this is not just gonna be a little thing where you just stand there and battle the team leaders. There is, I don't know how extensive this layer is going to be, but you're actually going to get to go into this layer at some point and take on these grunts, navigate your way through, probably be items and stuff, and it sounds like there's going to be a story arc here. Like, I can't imagine this being main game. I imagine this must be a post-game thing, but hopefully it's going to be something kind of like the Delta episode, where hopefully a little bit more satisfying than the Delta episode, but like I will say with the Delta episode, it was kind of a whole little mini post-game story that had like kind of its own arc to it. Like, it more fleshed out than a lot of other post-game stories. So hopefully this is like that, only I hope it's a little bit better because, well, let's put it this way, there is a whole lot of explaining to do with why these guys are even here, why they even exist in this universe, how they got here. But definitely, okay, we got Maxie and Archie, and I'm gonna get to them as well. I'm gonna get to all these guys. I'm gonna cover these guys when we're at the website, and Lysander, and Guzma holding back those Team Rocket grunts. Oh, and wait, there's the galactic logo right there. Hold up. Hold up. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? No, really, where was it? Did I miss it? Hold on. I'm gonna pause it when we get to there. So, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but let me see. Because we know from one of the earlier trailers that the main story arc is going to be, it's going to be around Necrozma, and there's the whole Ultra Recon Squad, and there's something about Necrozma trying to steal the light from Alola. And it's not quite clear whether the Ultra Recon Squad is going to be an evil team or a good team working on your side. Maybe they're kind of like the Aether Foundation, where there's some good guys in it and some bad guys in it. But all I know is that these games are going to be really oversaturated with evil or semi-evil teams. If we have the Ultra Recon Squad, we have Aether Foundation, we have Team Skull, and then we have all the past evil team leaders joining together to make one ginormous Rainbow Rocket team. Anyway, that's why I'm hoping there's a lot of explaining to do, but that's why I'm like 99% sure this has to be a post-game arc, which I'm excited about, because I was worried when I heard that, oh, Team Rocket grunts are here, and there was a leak that said, oh, you're gonna fight all of the evil team bosses from the past. I was worried that this was gonna be like either Pokemon World Tournament or a Battle Tree thing, where they're just like cameos, where you're battling through and like, oh, you remember this guy? Now you're gonna battle him again, which was kind of cool. but it was just a cameo. Now this is actually some kind of story going on. I really hope we do get some sort of explanation as to how these guys all got assembled. So let's continue here then. We're gonna see the rest of this. Mostly this is just, we can see like little scenery. They're all saying some things. Someone can go translate it. Like, I know how to read the syllables that they're saying, but I don't know how to translate it, so we're not even gonna bother right now. So that, you know, Lysander said something about Pokemon, I think, and there's Giovanni, and he's here, and he's looking beautiful as ever. And then this is the thing that we saw at the beginning of the English trailer, where the whole setup is, oh, here you're gonna battle Giovanni. And yeah, it is confirmed. He is the leader of the whole thing. I want to know how he got all these people together. And as you can see, he has Mewtwo, and that's an important point that we're going to bring up a little bit later. But first, we're going to go through Lycanroc, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else here? It's just pre-order stuff. Alright. So let's go ahead and go through. I kind of skipped to the interesting part on the Pokemon website. We're going to go through, and first, can we zoom in on this picture? No, we can't. Well, I can, I guess, if I do. Whoa, too much. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Alright, this is 120%. It's zoomed in a little bit, so we'll do it this. Okay, so we can see everybody here. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Or no, I'll go back. Alright, never mind. Too confusing. Alright, so we see here we have all of the evil team leaders from the past. And we also, you can't see my cursor here, but I'm circling over Faba. We have Faba here. He is joined the ranks of Rainbow Rocket, which is really interesting, because in Sun and Moon, we kind of see, like, we got confirmation that, like, oh, Colress is here, and, you know, he matches perfectly with, like, the Aether Foundation. They all wear white and then some color, and nobody else has white and then the blue, so Colress is probably, you know, part of the Aether Foundation, and I still think that we need to find out more about him, because I feel like it is very believable that he might have something to do with the Aether Foundation. But, all that aside, now we have kind of an inverse of what I was thinking about before, because now we have Faba, a member of the Aether Foundation, joining ranks with these guys, all the evil team members from the past. And now we already kind of knew that Faba wasn't necessarily a good guy. He wasn't exactly a bad guy, because it was kind of, the whole idea was kind of that the Aether Foundation was basically good, but Lusamine was kind of crazed in her obsession with the Ultra Beast, and so she was kind of leading the Aether Foundation to do evil things. But Faba was definitely kind of an untrustworthy guy. So this is kind of like, he is taken aside. He is on the side of the evil people, the evil teams. But then interestingly, we see down there, at the bottom, we see people on your side. We see Sophocles, interestingly enough, one of the trial captains. And then we see Guzma, first of all, and Wick, who, I mean, we kind of always knew Wick was good because she was, like, the kind and motherly person in the absence of Lusamine. She was, like, the kind and motherly person towards Lily and Gladion. So it doesn't surprise me too much that she'd be on your side in this. Guzma, also, I could see him being on your side, because really, Team Skull, like, they're troublemakers and stuff, but kind of when it comes down to it, they're not super duper evil. They're not, like, take over the world types. They were kind of in cahoots with the Aether Foundation, or at least, yeah, Guzma was. They were kind of working together. But Guzma's helping Lusamine, but I kind of think the whole thing was, like, I don't know, Guzma liked Lusamine and was trying to get on her good side. I don't know if he had any, like, real malicious evil intent. So anyway, I could see him being on your side because it's like, hey, these guys are stepping in on my turf and let's take them down, kind of a thing. But anyway, the main point of interest there is that Faba's there. So I might be answering my own question of how these guys all got amassed here, but I bet you that Faba brought them here. And we're gonna get more into them being here in a moment, but let's go ahead and read this. In Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon, the greatest villainous organization in history appears. It's Team Rainbow Rocket, made up of the bosses from the past titles in the Pokemon series. The boss of Team Rainbow Rocket is none other than Giovanni, who was also the boss of the villainous organization known as Team Rocket in Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, the first games in the Pokemon series. But that's not the worst of it. Giovanni has gathered into one group the bosses from the various past games in the Pokemon series. You and your allies will have to square off against what might be your greatest challenge yet. What in the world could Giovanni and his allies be after appearing in the Alola region so suddenly? So that's where my thought is, and I kind of realized this as I was talking, that Faba probably brought them here. He's one of the ones doing all the research in the Ultra Wormholes. He is prime suspect number 1. We see him on their side. Okay, Team Rocket boss Giovanni. Giovanni is the boss of Team Rocket, which made his debut in Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. He schemes to commit many evil deeds using the Pokemon of the world. While he's the boss of Team Rocket, he was also the gym leader of the GlitchxCity gym, and he's stood in the hero's way countless times. Oh, we get a little retrospective. We have a then and now, his first appearance and his latest appearance. And we see he's got Mewtwo. And again, I keep teasing, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this after we get to Maxie and Archie. Team Magma boss Maxie. Maxie is the boss of Team Magma. And Villainous. Oh, guys, hold on. Someone didn't spell check here, but anyway. And Villainous organization that appeared in Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. He schemed to use the power of the legendary Pokemon Groudon to dry up the seas and expand the lands, with the goal of increasing the space available to be used by those living on the land. He seems calm and collective, but he is ruthless. He will show no mercy to those who stand in his way. And take a little picture. There he is then, there he is now, there he is now, and that's about it. Looks a little bit pale. I mean, he was always pale, I guess. But yeah, not looking the best necessarily. Anyway, Team Aqua boss Archie. Archie is the boss of Team Aqua and Villainous organization that appeared in Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. He tried to bring great rains down upon the land, borrowing the power of the legendary Pokemon Kyogre in his hopes of expanding the sea, which is the source of all life. While he brims with empathy in his attempts to restore nature for the sake of Pokemon, he will use force to overwhelm anyone who's in the way of realizing his ideal world. So this kind of sounds like making Archie out to be a little bit more kind-hearted with his intent. But yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up now because I didn't realize it at first because I just kind of saw the trailers and I was just so overwhelmed with trying to process all these team leaders in one team together. I was just trying to process all of it, and then someone in my Discord server, Title Tyrant, pointed out to me that Maxie and Archie, pay attention to how Maxie and Archie look in their appearance here. This is not the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire version of Maxie and Archie. This is the Ruby and Sapphire version of Maxie and Archie, which kind of goes into, even though they're not from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we have to go back to Oras to figure out what's going on here, because with Oras we established alternate timelines, alternate dimensions. There's a Mega Evolution timeline and a non-Mega Evolution timeline, which is basically everything prior to Gen 6, I guess you could say, is the non-Mega Evolution timeline, except the remakes, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, are in the Mega Evolution timeline. But then in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon are in one timeline, and Ultra Sun and Moon are in an alternate reality, an alternate timeline, if you will. So we have Faba, my theory, bringing all these evil team leaders over through Ultra Wormholes, so they're all coming from alternate realities. So which reality did they come from? These guys obviously came from Ruby and Sapphire, the Gen 3 universe, and but somehow they're working together, which that's another thing altogether. But all right, so but here's the other important thing about how they're dressed and they're brought over from alternate realities. Which reality did they come from? Well, there was a leak, a source that has been leaking information about Ultra Sun and Moon. I don't have the source with me, you have to forgive me, but it'll be pretty easy to find. Basically, this person who's made all these leaks, that pretty much all but 2 of them so far up to this point have been proven to be partially or completely correct based on press releases that, or whatever, that Pokemon, information that Pokemon has revealed, excuse me, about Ultra Sun and Moon. And pretty much everything has been right so far. There's just a couple of things that haven't been confirmed, but they predicted the whole idea of Rainbow Rocket being this thing where you would fight all of the evil team leaders. But the other thing that they said in the leak was that all the evil team leaders have been brought together from alternate realities in which they succeeded. So that means that this Maxie is the Maxie from Ruby who succeeded in bringing destruction to the world by making it all land with Groudon. And then this Archie is from a different timeline, a different reality in Sapphire, where he brought the new primordial world with all the water and yeah. So these are from realities in which these guys were successful, which when you get down into Cyrus, Ghetsis, and Lysander, it basically means either complete reshaping or total destruction of the world. Like with Lysander and Cyrus in particular, it basically means all life on Earth was destroyed. But let me get back to Giovanni, because Giovanni, well, really his design from Red and Blue and Fire Red and Leaf Green really didn't change that much. So for all intents and purposes, he's the same Giovanni no matter whether he's from Red and Blue timeline or the remakes timeline. But what would the reality be in which Giovanni was successful? Well, let's take a look. Team Rocket made Mewtwo. Mewtwo escaped. Giovanni tried to get the Sylph Scope to catch ghost Pokemon. They tried to take over Silphco and take the Master Ball. They wanted, basically Giovanni's goal was to get Mewtwo back. And so when you fight Giovanni in this game, he has Mewtwo. So therefore he is from a timeline where he succeeds. He does not disband Team Rocket because Red either is not there to stop him or Red fails. And Giovanni has Mewtwo. So that would totally seem to jive with what the leak was saying about these being realities in which they were successful. And then someone pointed out that they thought that they saw Cyrus using Palkia, maybe. I don't know if we saw any proof of that. Like, when I looked through the trailers, I didn't necessarily see anything saying that that would be true, but if all these evil team leaders were successful, we would expect them to have legendary Pokemon. Maybe Maxie would have Groudon, Archie have Kyogre, Cyrus would have, I don't know, either Dialga, Palkia, or Giratina. Ghetsis would have Reshiram, Zekrom, or Kyurem, and Lysander would have Xerneas or Yveltal. But we might as well finish this out and go through the rest of these guys. Team Galactic boss Cyrus. Cyrus is the boss of Team Galactic, the villainous organization that appeared in Diamond and Pokemon Pearl. Not Platinum. That's another thing. You notice they're not saying the third versions of these games. I guess because those are alternate realities in and of themselves. Believing that the human heart is imperfect, Cyrus held a desire to use the power of the legendary Pokemon Dialga or Palkia to erase the current world and create a perfect new world. He always conducts himself in a cool and logical way, and he is greatly trusted by his subordinates in Team Galactic. So, Cyrus is kind of the one who you'd say fits the best in with this whole world in Alola and Sun and Moon and Ultra Wormholes and time and space and, because, I mean, this is more going to Platinum, which they're not citing. This is not necessarily Cyrus from Platinum, but, where he wanted to create his own new universe, and in Platinum he kind of goes off into the Distortion world. So, even though the Distortion world and Ultra Space are not the same thing, you could kind of think of the whole thing with portals and space and warping and time, and he's kind of, seems like he's the best candidate to be connected to all of this. But of course they're all connected, so nothing particularly special about him, but I think he fits in pretty well there. But let's go on to Team Plasma boss Ghetsis. So again, we're talking about which version of these guys are we seeing. And I think with all of these, except for Giovanni, because he's got the Rainbow Rocket symbol, these other leaders, we're seeing their original Ken Sugimori artwork from their debut games. So with Ghetsis, it's the same thing. This is not Black 2, White 2 Ghetsis. This is Black and White Ghetsis, which if that's the case, that means that the events of Black and White, he was successful. So he never became grizzled old Ghetsis trying to get revenge with his new Team Plasma. So this is him with old Team Plasma still, which means I don't know if he disposed of N. I don't know if N's gonna come and help you out. Probably not, because Ghetsis was just like plucked from his place in space, I guess, like everybody else. Anyway, Ghetsis is the boss of Team Plasma, the villainous organization that appeared in Pokemon Black and Pokemon White. He planned to use the powers of the legendary Pokemon Reshiram or Zekrom as well as a boy called N who is able to understand the hearts of Pokémon. To realize his desire that only his team should have Pokémon and should rule over all those without Pokémon, he speaks politely and acts like a gentleman. That's not what I gathered at all, but anyway. But he also shows glimpses of a cruel side, treating N, a boy he raised as if N were his own son, like a monster. It's a little bit like Frollo, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And so yeah, here we have, you know, original gets this, and he's representing, that's an interesting way to put it, I am representing Team Plasma. So they're like all representing their teams. I can't wait. I really hope that they give us, you know, some real meat on how these guys are all together. What made them all decide to get together. I know with Pokemon, they don't like to explain things a lot of the time, not in too much detail, but I really hope they explain this at least somewhat, so that I can understand why. Like, this is like an awesome crossover fanfiction, but I want to know why it's happening. Alright, and finally we have Team Flare boss Lysander. Lysander is the boss of Team Flare, the villainous organization that appeared in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. He is, by nature, a man of deep sympathies, but he has been driven to despair by watching humans fighting and struggling against one another. And he comes to believe that the only way for people to live in beauty without strife or struggle is by reducing the number of people living in the world. He restored the ultimate weapon, which had been sealed away 3,000 years earlier, and then using the power of legendary Pokemon, Xerneas or Yveltal, he attempted to eradicate life. So, with Lysander, he would definitely have to come from a timeline in which he was successful, because, at least in Pokemon Y, he used the ultimate weapon on himself at the end, and in Pokemon Y it was powered by Yveltal, which would mean he basically would have died. Now, with X, it's a little bit weird how it works, because Xerneas is the life-bringing Pokemon, so it's unclear how the ultimate weapon powered by Xerneas would kill things. It would more likely give everybody immortality. But again, if this is a universe in which he was successful, then he would be alive again either way. So we get to see, this is a due to you all, members who are not in Team Flare. Alright, well, and he's Lysander. You're challenged by Team Flare. Looking scary there, Lysander. Okay, so, and down here, let's see, there's not much new over here. So yeah. Oh, there's Lily's new art. I haven't seen all of this on the website, but I don't think there's anything new over here. Let's scroll back up. So, I mean, I've said a lot about Team Rainbow Rocket. There's so many questions here. I don't know if I've even covered all of it, but this is the biggest thing. I'm excited about it. I really hope they give us answers to why everything is happening the way it is. Like, I hope there's a reason, and I bet it has to do with Faba, because he's there, and he's the one with the Ultra Wormholes. But yeah, I just hope these guys and their backstories, why they're working together, how Faba, basically this way. Basically all of these guys are people with huge egos who, basically, they want to be the ones to determine how the world works. They want to either destroy the world, run the world, whatever. They, like, all of them want to be the one in charge of it all, determining it all with the most power. So how, on any universe, did, I'm assuming it's Faba, convince them to work together? Do they think, like, oh, they'll work together now and then they'll turn on the rest of them and take over? I don't know. I like, there's so much that could happen here. I hope the Pokemon Company gives us something kind of fleshed out with it. I know they're not going to get too... They're most likely not going to get too into all the details, but I hope they give us some details, because there's so much that could be going on behind the scenes here. Alright, so let's skip up for a moment. Just to give a little bit more information on the legendary Pokemon, because that's the other major thing, is all the legendary Pokemon that you can find, like, through Ultra Space, basically. You can kind of transport and go to different areas. Here we see basically all of the legendary, but yeah, because we have Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 down here. There's everybody in Gen 4. Again, not counting mythicals, these are legendary Pokemon. So these are all Gen 5. And you notice Gen 6, I made this point before, and this is kind of like a side tangent, but Gen 6 was the only generation to not have, well, in Gen 7 it's kind of a quartet, there's not like a trio, but in all the other games there's some kind of I mean, you could argue the box art legendaries are a trio, but I mean like the other trio, the non-box art trio. Because you have the legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres in Gen 1, that's a trio. You have Entei, Raikou, Entei, Suicune, the legendary beasts, and Gen 2, they're the trio. You have the Reggie trio in Generation 3, the Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf in Generation 4. You have the Swords of Justice trio. I won't count Thundurus, Landorus, like, that's different, but I mean, like, they're, like, I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but, like, the trio, not the box art trio, but, like, the other trio, either, like, and that would be Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion in that case. But, Gen 6 didn't have any other legendaries other than Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. Now, Volcanion and Diancie, those are mythicals, because you don't see them on screen here because you get them outside of the game. But, so just for all intents and purposes, there's not the trio. And the reason I don't include, the reason I say not the box art trio is because in Gen 1 there wasn't a box art trio. In Gen 2 there wasn't a box art trio. Gen 3 was the first time that became a thing. So that's why I'm counting like Legendary Birds, Legendary Beast, the Reggies, the Lake Guardians, and the Swords of Justice. But anyway, we're getting to details. So this is where I was getting at before. This screenshot right here in the English, it says, you arrived at a warp hole that was 1,463 light years away from where you were. Now, I mean, since their measurement is light years, you're obviously not even on the same planet. You're not in the same reality as you were. Sorry, just attacking my hand. I guess I only have myself to blame for that. So I mean, it's interesting that they gave you a measurement of distance when you're kind of just in a completely separate dimension. But that kind of gets in the whole too, like, if you go far enough away to the edge of the universe, do you go into another universe? I don't know. We're getting a little philosophical here. You only find Ultra Beasts in the worlds that lie beyond the Ultra Wormhole. You can even encounter legendary Pokemon such as Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, Lugia, and others. In fact, all the legendary Pokemon of yore will appear in the worlds you explore in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon, blah, blah, blah. Some of the legendary Pokemon that you encounter depending on which game you're playing, that you can encounter differ depending on which game you're playing, blah, blah, blah. Anything, you sense a presence that exudes its overwhelming power. And there's Mewtwo, and Ho-Oh, and Lugia. Okay, so but I don't know if there's a significance to that number, 1,463 or whatever whatever the different number was in the Japanese. I don't know, and this just talks about how some of them Mega Evolve, well basically Mewtwo and Rayquaza Mega Evolve, and then you have the Primal Groudon and Kyogre, and then Giratina has different forms, Kyurem has Black Kyurem and White Kyurem. Anyway, most of the legendary Pokemon that you encounter await you in worlds beyond Ultra Wormholes, but some legendary Pokemon can be encountered when you fulfill special conditions. For example, you can encounter Giratina if you have both Dialga, which can be encountered in Pokemon Ultra Sun, and Palkia, which can be encountered in Pokemon Ultra Moon, as allies. So, I think they're going to mention it again later on, when they mention the version exclusives, but basically if you have Dialga and Palkia in your party, you can find Giratina. But here, let's get to the version exclusives, and somebody made this point, but let's see. In Ultra Sun, you have, in Pokemon Ultra Sun only, you have Ho-Oh, Raikou, Groudon, Latios, Dialga, Heatran, Reshiram, Tornadus, and Xerneas. And in Ultra Moon, Lugia, Entei, Kyogre, Latias, Palkia, Regigigas, Zekrom, Thundurus, and Yveltal. Now, someone made the point to me that a lot of the Pokemon you can find in Ultra Sun seem more related to fire or sunlight or, you know, hot things, I don't know. And in Pokemon Ultra Moon, you have more Pokemon related to storms and water, and for the most part that's true, but you would have to reverse Entei and Raikou for that to be kind of the case, because you have the fiery Pokemon, the volcano Pokemon, Raikou, or Entei, in Ultra Moon, and the thunder cloud Pokemon, basically Raikou, in Ultra Sun. But, so I don't know if there was necessarily a reason behind that. They split up, and it's interesting that they split up Entei and Raikou, but they did it for this, which they're kind of reiterating. These Pokemon will appear only when specific Pokemon are in your party. Suicune I guess because Suicune was the Pokemon Crystal mascot. Suicune will appear when Raikou and Entei are present, Rayquaza with Groudon and Kyogre, Giratina with Dialga and Palkia, Kyurem with Reshiram and Zekrom, and Landorus with Tornadus and Thundurus. No surprises here. That basically covers it. This just shows all the Pokemon. So this is a lot to digest, and we're hearing that we're potentially going to get another information drop, like on the 10th, I think, November 10th. So I don't know. This video already went a long time. I could go on talking about things, speculating about things, wondering about things, but we're gonna get more information on November 10th, which is just 8 days before Ultra Sun and Moon are out. So I don't know what else they're gonna reveal, but this is something big. This is something big to chew on. These games have gone from being like, it seems like everybody's reaction has gone from being like, oh, it's the third version of Sun and Moon, yay, to, oh my gosh, what is going on? This game is like trying to be everything. It could be the ultimate version of Sun and Moon. There's this whole, like, all the teams coming together. Is this a reboot? Some people are saying, because they're bringing all the evil teams together. They're gonna reset the universe for Pokemon on Switch. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below and talk to me about it on Discord. Let's have a conversation about it. There are so many possibilities here. I really hope that they do something big with this. It does seem like this might be the case, but I want to know what you guys think. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff by me. And I will be doing a Wonderlock of either Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, depending on which one I play on my own time. I'll play the other one in a Wonderlock, and you guys can Wonder Trade with me, blah, blah, blah. That's for another time. I've gone long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you. Maybe I'll do another video after the November 10th, whatever information they release. It depends. It depends on how good the information is. But either way, I will see you in the next video. We are, what, 14 days from Ultra Sun and Moon? Time to get hyped, guys. See you next time.